What's up everybody, this is Toho Games. I'm Toho and I'm coming back at you with a Horizon Ground War Domination game from some Advanced Warfare. So Advanced Warfare dropped about 3 weeks ago and was a kind of a crazy week for me. I had this mad rush of trying to get a copy of the game early, just going everywhere in Cardiff in the UK where I live, and just trying to find somewhere that had it and was willing to sell it to me early. Absolutely nowhere admitted to having it early. Well, they all said they don't have it early, at least they didn't admit to it, and so I ended up buying the game on kind of like release day, and so I didn't manage to hit that subscriber rush, for first day subs and all of that crap, and here I am 3 weeks later posting my first Advanced Warfare commentary. So that zeal for subscribers lasted long, didn't it? Anyway, so I'm using a sniper rifle. This is a fairly aggressive sniping gameplay. I'm playing some Ground War Domination. I'm playing on the Xbox One, so it's full of sweaty tryhards. Nowadays I play more on the Xbox 360 because, frankly, it's just a bit more enjoyable when you don't have everybody running around and boosting with BALs and sniping you from the other end of the map. And that kind of brings me to what I wanted to talk about. So, the sniping in this game. Now, just to say that I'm pretty passionate, as you guys will know, about sniping in Call of Duty. It's a very enjoyable playstyle for me, and as it turns out for millions of other people too. And really, I find it interesting that, and so as a result of that, I'm gonna do a really full, in-depth commentary where I'm gonna have specific clips for explaining exactly why sniping isn't overpowered and exactly what the techniques are of sniping compared to reg gunplay, and really demonstrating that when people have an issue with sniping, it's an emotional issue. They don't actually, there's no facts involved in their having an issue with sniping. It's the fact that they don't like getting killed in a certain way, and it's a shame that that the developers have pandered to that kind of lowest common denominator of thought when it comes to the gameplay. I personally, and the reason that I say that they have done that really is because in Advanced Warfare, for I think the first time in Call of Duty, the reg scope with the MORS sniper, and I'm going to talk about the MORS sniper mainly because it's the only one that anyone can actually use, which in and of itself is ridiculous if you think about it. But the MORS sniper, well, that and the Atlas, but really, it's the MORS, isn't it? The MORS is the kind of the Barrett or the intervention of the game. So, the actual reg scope, for the first time I think in the history of Call of Duty, doesn't actually fire where you aim it. So as far as I can tell, they've introduced 3 things into sniping in this game, some of which have been present in previous Call of Duty games, but one of which, as far as I'm aware, is only really present in this particular game. It may have been present in Black Ops 1 before they patched it, but I can't really remember because I didn't really play that game very much. So the first thing is the scope in time. I think it's been slowed down a little bit from Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 3, and I think it's about a 0.5. I think it's very slightly slower than the DSR, or around about a DSR kind of speed, which is okay, I guess. It's all right, but even that has to be kept in reference with the speed of the time to kill than an assault rifle, and I think the assault rifles here have an incredibly fast time to kill. They don't seem to have many of the limitations that previous assault rifles had, and a lot of those things were things like recoil and stuff like that, which these assault rifles now just don't seem to have. And anyway, so the actual snipers themselves, they've brought on about a slightly slower ADS time, but the 2 things that they've really brought on that I think are kind of new and kind of sucky from a sniper's point of view. The first is this horrible idle sway, this awful random sway that is most noticeable on the reg scope, but is also noticeable on the variable zoom scope when you use any of the kind of more zoomed in settings on that scope. And basically when you bring the weapon up, it's freaking swaying everywhere, and it's really weird that they would have that, first of all, when assault rifles have a faster ADS time, and they have absolutely no sway, and they have no recoil. It just makes no sense. An assault rifle in this game will out-snipe you across the map, even if you've got a sniper rifle, which doesn't make any sense at all, even if they have a problem with quickscoping, which itself is stupid to have a problem with quickscoping. in a game that is by its nature small maps, fast-paced, twitch shooting, kind of a game where that, real, quote-unquote, real-world sniping doesn't work. I mean, Call of Duty is not Battlefield, and it's definitely not Arma. So if you're expecting people to snipe as they would in real life, then that's ridiculous. In that case, you may as well just take the sniper rifles out of the game. It's a fast-paced type of game. It's a twitch shooter, which means that every style, whether you're using a shotgun, whether you're using an SMG or an LMG, everybody's got to be good at twitching. They've got to be good at firing and changing their angles quickly, because people move quick and the maps are small. So, that's the way it's going to be. But so this idle sway, I think, is ridiculous and excessive. But the thing that really gets me, the thing that I find just like kind of remarkable and almost shocking is it's just like ridiculous. I don't understand it at all, is the fact that, and I don't know if you guys are actually aware of this, the sniper rifles don't necessarily, especially if you're using the reg scope, and it's okay, I think, if you're using the variable zoom scope on the first setting, thank God, otherwise I don't think I'd play this game. The reg scope on the sniper rifles don't actually fire, especially the MORS, don't actually fire where you're aiming. So literally, if your crosshairs are in the middle of, like, if you're looking at a letter A on a wall, if you're firing right into the middle of that letter, even if, at the moment of firing you actually know exactly where your crosshairs were, the bullet will actually be slightly off, which is amazing to me. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of like, honestly, it reminds me of when you're a kid at school and you're playing football, or I guess Americans would call it soccer or whatever, and you're trying to tackle somebody and you're keeping up with them and you're just about to tackle them and they stick their arm out to like push you down, like to physically stop you from being able to carry out a legal tackle. That's what it feels like. It feels like people are like, oh no, you I don't want you to be able to do that. So it's like we're just gonna physically stop you from being able to do it. And it makes me think, like, what next? Like, at what point are they just going to be like, oh yeah, when you scope in, we're just going to black out your screen for a second or two, just because we don't want you to be able, we don't like getting killed that way. It's like, well, okay, but that's ridiculous. You can't just dislike something and then dislike somebody else, the way somebody else is beating you, and then just be like, oh, well, I'm just going to stop you from being able to do it because that's cool. It's like, no, that's not cool. It doesn't make any sense to me. And the thing that I don't understand is that it would be one thing if sniping genuinely was cheap, but the reality is that, look at how close that would have been a beautiful quad feed if I'd managed to pull that off. It would be one thing if sniping genuinely was cheap, but the fact is that the stats bear out that it isn't cheap, and stats don't lie. Whatever your emotional response is to getting sniped, the simple fact is, and this is a fact, snipers have much lower KDRs. If you were to take the top 1,000 players in the world, right? The top 1,000 players in the world with a BAL and the top 1,000 players in the world with a MORS, and you were to compare things like score per minute, but most importantly KDR, there would be no comparison. I'm personally confident that there would be absolutely no comparison between a BAL user and a MORS user. The BAL users would have KDRs several times higher than the MORS users, even the world's best MORS users. Especially aggressive snipers, their KDRs are not particularly great because it's a high risk, high payoff strategy. The clips that you see in montages are the moments that it's paid off. You don't see all the times that people run around corners and hip fire you or snipe you from across the map with a BAL. And that's the point. People have this incredibly skewed opinion of sniping, and they don't understand that it's actually clearly, and the stats bear this out, as I said, clearly is the highest skill level type of gameplay, and that's why people graduate to sniping after they feel bored of using assault rifles. It's very rarely the other way around, and it's just really, it's kind of weird to me that the developers would pander to that kind of lowest common denominator kind of thought, just what the masses want and what the masses think. It's not the developer's job, in my opinion, to be kind of pandering to that. Their job is to be the experts. Their job is to look at the data, to look at the stats and actually say, well, people may not like getting sniped, but actually the vast majority of if you were to get the same guy with a BAL and put himself up against himself with a sniper rifle, the BAL will win like 4 times out of 5, and that in and of itself means that sniping can't be overpowered. it's just a shame. I mean, despite that, I am still kind of enjoying sniping with this variable zoom scope. It's a shame that I can't use more kind of attachments, but you know, I'm going to be putting out 3 to 4 commentaries every week, if not commentaries, then little small edits. I'm kind of getting my editing together. So anyway guys, if you enjoyed this little rant about sniping in Call of Duty, there's more to come, but if you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, you know, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for listening, and bye.